Good evening, Super Metroid fans. Good evening, speedrunning fans. We are here. Folks, it is time. This is the Constellation Bracket Speed Gaming Live 2023. Everything is on the line for these two runners. ShinyZeni and Zoast are going for a spot in the grand finals. And to take you through game one of this three-game set, I am Professor School, and I am joined here by none other than the incredible Behemoth 87. Behe, what's up? Good evening.
Hey, Professor School, how's it going?
It's going
well,
great.
thanks.
Yeah, I am so stoked for this matchup. We've got, between you, Zeni, and Zoast, we've got the top three seeds in this tournament represented. Two of them are racing. One of them is commentating. I don't think I could ask for anything better. We've got a bunch of hype people in chat. And we've got game one of a three-game set here. So we were talking a little bit about this before, but what are we expecting from these runners today? Sort of, what do you think? What's on their mind going into this?
I think a lot of high stakes. You know, there's a little bit of nerves. I think there's a bit of a rematch mentality going into this one. Zeni wants to kind of right the wrongs of what happened before. Zoast wants to get a 113. So yeah, I think there's a lot of pressure on them both, but it should be a fine race.
It should be a fine race. We will see a little bit of route divergence, right? Can you talk about that a little bit? Zoast is going to be doing something a little bit different than Zeni. I think it's good for us to introduce that concept to everyone here.
Yeah, so when Zoast reaches Red Tower, he will go up to collect power bombs early. That's going to help him do some bunch of tricks in Norfair. And he will not need to grab the missile pack in Kraid later on. But the routes don't really have any difference in time. But it will look like there's a difference for quite a while. But I don't know the exact time difference between them.
Yeah, essentially it works out to, based on my timings and a few other folks I've talked to, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 42 seconds for the re-entry, the revisit that Zeni is going to have to do for Kraid Slayer. So we can keep a rough count on that. And let's see, Zeni getting a little unfortunate luck there with well, RNG, as it always happens to be the case in series. Zoast coming in with a really strong 46. Zeni a couple seconds behind, but with his early game movement, you know, I would expect that to even up pretty quickly.
Yeah, that was a strong series from Zoast there. I think it was like a 46, 60 something.
Very solid. So just to set the stage once more for everyone here, this is losers finals. This is the redemption bracket, game one of three. We have at least 2 games tonight, depending on whether we need a third. We'll just have to wait and see. We've got a great comms crew lined up for you. But this is it, folks. We've got the final 3 runners left, and Zeni and Zoast are playing for their lives in the tournament and for their opportunity to move on and face Behe here in the finals. Coming right up. It's been a great 2 months of speedrunning, and this is what we've all been waiting for. These are the top 3 seeds. They're competing in best of 3 races. I really couldn't ask for anything more.
Yeah, these are legendary runners. Absolutely. Been playing for a very long time. Over a decade between them.
Yes, one interesting thing that you and I were talking about before. So Zoast coming in with the first 112 in SM, going back a little over a year now. But in this tournament, has not quite, in his own words, gotten completely into shape yet. But he did in his last interview, getting to this position after his race with you, he mentioned that he felt like he was really starting to shape up a bit more and feel a lot more confident with his runs. So something that you pointed out was that you felt if anyone in the tournament is due for a 113 in a race, it's him. What do you think about that?
Yeah, he's definitely got the capability to bust out some really strong runs. I think he's had a bit of unlucky, turnouts in some of these races in the tournament so far. So don't be surprised if we see a good couple of runs from Zoast in this best of 3.
Yeah, and of course, on the other side of the coin, Zeni had to fight his way up into this position, having to really take on some tough competition. The big, I hate to call it a surprise of the tournament, because it's not a surprise at all, but But the big sort of seed upset of the tournament was Sisreem, who had been playing out of his mind. And Zeni had to go through a very difficult race against Sisreem, and then maybe an even greater challenge against someone else who almost has the fourth 112 in SM history for 100%, which is Gebu, and had to fight all the way here. But why did that happen? Of course, it was as a result of having lost in the semifinals of the winners bracket against Zoast originally. And that was that really, really unfortunate race where Zeni accidentally missed one of those gauntlet missiles, lost a little over a minute, and despite his very best efforts, still almost running a 113 actually with missed gauntlet missiles, it was too much, and Zoast ended up taking the victory there. So I think both of these runners have something to prove, and a lot on stake up for grabs here to move on to this grand finals.
For sure, for sure. Let's see what kind of BT they get here. Oh, not many missiles for Zoast. Zeni looks like he's getting a good bit of RNG there. So that looks like it evens it up a bit.
Yeah, just about dead even coming through the door. I can't tell you. It's not on one hand that I could count the number of times that BT dropped absolutely zero missiles. I think I've seen it happen to you on stream before. It's just one of those things. BT decides to do what BT decides to do, and it never happens at the best moment, it seems.
But yeah, always on a really good pace.
All right, so just a little bit something different that we'll be seeing coming through this room here. In preparation for his trip up the Red Tower, Zoast is going to be doing a little bit of health conservation. So you can see using the missiles there on the pirates. And some additional missile use will be coming up as well at the bottom of the Green Bryn main shaft, where he'll be missiling the red door. And that'll be to save a super for essentially the trip up and back down Red Tower to pick up those Alpha PBs and the Alpha PB missiles. Zeni able to go a little bit faster through that section, doesn't have to worry about health conservation because of all the Hellway deboosts that Zoast will be doing. And then we'll have the routes sort of reconverge in a way after that.
Zeni getting a little bit unstuck there with the boosts.
Yeah, it's a bit of an uncharacteristic mistake. It's definitely a frustrating one when you've got that waiver is just in perfect position and you go maybe just a little early on that wall jump or a little early on that deboost.
Yeah, it's a little tricky spot because it's a blind spot where you have to feel your way up there, essentially.
All right, let's see how this next trick goes. Very nicely done from Zoast. Zeni right behind. Always nice to get that and not have to lose the 7 or 8 seconds or so going around the top. Nicely done on the reverse mock ball. Let's see if they get any good RNG luck here from the super drop. No, unfortunately. Both going for the farm, though. It's always nice when you pick up a super there.
Oh, for sure. Oh yeah, Zoast uses missiles on that door to save a super. I think that's an essential part of early power bombs. I can't remember.
Yeah, as far as I understand the route, and I think in this tournament, the 3 runners who were running that were Zoast, Fat Scott, and Sisreem going up the early trip buff Red Tower. It is essential, I think, unless you get lucky with drops somewhere or stop to farm in Hellway, which is a bit of a crapshoot. You're not going to have the supers left for the fast entry into the warehouse. So I think that's the reason there for that missile use.
Shout outs to the weave. Zeni got the weave.
It is free if you do it right. That's what I hear.
That's what I've heard too. Yeah.
All right, Zeni doing well there. Not taking any hits from those hoppers. That'll give him a little bit more flexibility going into Kraid's Lair here with health. Oh, and Zoast, this is something Zoast has talked about before. One of the nice things is if you get good health drops coming through this section of Green Bryn into Red Tower, you can actually start to put energy into your reserves ahead of time with this early power bombs. Yeah, and that's actually really nice because depending on Kraid drops, you're not guaranteed to get a 5th power bomb coming out of Kraid, and as a result, that means that you're always not guaranteed to get that 20 energy from the BTOM room in Kraid's warehouse, Kraid's closet.
Pretty handy, yeah. Zeni bonked the door into the scree room, which was maybe a second loss.
I'm curious, Bihi, from your perspective as a runner, have you reached sort of an intuitive sense here for what your health should be if everything sort of goes right in terms of tracking your reserves in this late croc route where it's so important, or do you still on every run, keep track very closely and actually count the numbers up?
For me, tracking reserve really only starts once you leave Kraid, or get the energy tank leaving Kraid. But as far as setting up health towards Kraid, I think Zeni's in a good spot here with 80. It's kind of on the low side after this boost here. Oh, he's not going to take the boost. Interesting. Yeah, I don't blame him.
Yeah, he should have been okay. That would have put him at 64, which is just enough to do the lag reduction here, but it does leave you dangerously close to that health bomb range. So I mean, I think it's 20 frames that you give up, or it's just thereabouts by not taking that deboost.
Something like that, yeah. And he wants to skip the drops here, which saves quite a bit of time.
Yeah, a little unfortunate not getting any super drops there. He'll double missile mini Kraid and he'll be up to 4. It's always nicer to have 5 if you can. So a little unlucky there, and then we'll see how Zoast gets through this section. And see, there you see it, Zoast down at 0 supers there, and really needed to save every last one for that fast entry.
Zoast is grabbing the missile pack that we were speaking about.
Yeah, and this is where those, roughly 42 seconds is going to come from in the route difference. Is Zeni going to be naturally ahead here, but Zoast not going to need to come back in to grab these later on. So it really won't be until we're heading down to lower Norfair that we'll see convergence again from these runners. Nice, and there's that 20 health in reserves for Zeni. So right off the bat, a nice start here going into, I don't know, a pretty technically challenging upper Norfair. What are your thoughts on that, Bihi? How do you feel about this section that Zeni's entering?
Oh, it's a place where you can bleed time very, very easily, for sure. It takes a long time to get really consistent at it. If you want those good Phantoon door times, you need a good upper Norfair, that's for sure.
Yep. Okay, so Zeni getting a little bit lucky there with RNG. I think he'd probably prefer a super from that Sov at the top of Business Center. Does get a second big health drop, so right away has 40, and looks like maybe another 5, so 45 in reserve already. That's really nice. Zoast, I couldn't tell on that quick kill. I don't know if you caught it, Bihi. I couldn't tell if he was trying to do extra lag reduction because he jumped into the spikes a second time, or if that was that he just didn't get out of the spikes correctly the first time and had to sort of fix it. I wasn't quite sure which he was going for there.
I'm afraid I missed it as well.
All right, so here's exactly what I was talking about. Zoast only on 3 power bombs, so he is not going to get the benefit of the 20 extra health from these B-toms, unfortunately. They are almost guaranteed to... Oh, that was scary. Oh, my goodness. Oh, boy. Okay. All right, Zoast is good. He had reserves, fortunately, but that was a little sketch for a second there. Yeah, but I wasn't sure exactly how much he got into reserves, but he has at least something from that early trip through Green Bryn.
I forget what kind of damage they do when you have like all 4 of them connected.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you. We've had some close calls. I think maybe it was the Zeni stream race where essentially like if Zeni messed up the strat in that room, the run was over. It's kind of wild, you know, when you're doing this that damage in the green pirate shaft on the way down after Terminator, you don't really leave yourself a lot of space if you're going to be doing all of the deboosts and the damage reduction, or excuse me, the lag reduction against Kraid. So it can get a little scary sometimes when you're skipping drops.
Yeah, it gets pretty low. It gets right down there.
All right, let's see. So Zeni skipping the farm on the way in, which is sort of standard now in this route. Let's see what he gets on the way back out. 1 super and a bit extra in his reserves.
That's really good stats so far.
Yeah, that looks really good.
4 after just 1 farm. It's very nice.
I'm not sure that his reserves are full. I would say maybe somewhere between 70 and 85.
If it's that high, that's very good also.
Yeah.
It's gonna come in useful later on. 1508 waves, not bad, not bad. Knowing Zeni, he'll want sub 15.
Well, that's just the thing with the top runners, right? I feel like we always want more, right?
Oh, absolutely. Anything lower than 1510 will do there. Gets the air spread, bomb spread. Gebu and Zeni are both very consistent at that. It's scary. I don't understand. It's like a frame perfect.
It is.
Movement. Yeah.
It is.
So it's had a pretty long farm there. I don't know if that was like 3 farms. Maybe that's normal for early powerbomb route.
Yeah, I don't have enough experience to say definitively. He did only have 1 super coming in, and I would have expected him to have. I mean, really, you should. No, you know, it shouldn't matter, right? Because if you're coming out of Kraid, and you get, even if you get no super drops, you should have at least 4, right, coming off of mini Kraid. So I think I didn't quite catch what happened, but something went maybe a little sideways. I don't know if there was an extra super used, or if he just didn't get any drops anywhere else.
I think it's quite normal to be heading to speed boosted with like 1 super if you just don't get any, or even 0 actually. Maybe just played it safe and farmed a bunch of times.
We did see something a little bit rare from Zoast, was the powerbomb sound cue clear in the speed room. I think that one is a little bit tougher to make save time by Zoast's his own description. But I think you can get a handful of frames saved there if your entry to the room is good and you set everything up properly. That's one of the benefits of this early powerbombs route, is you can sort of make up some of that time, make it sort of more cost efficient for yourself. And then Zeni on the other side, using one of these newer found strats, which is and the beautiful weave too. My goodness, those last 2 rooms from Zeni. There was a freeze there of that Zila to save maybe 10, 12 frames, getting a little earlier to that first deboost, and then that just absolutely difficult weave getting all the way down, sort of the hardest version of that, where you still get the door fix and you get all the benefits. That's really nicely executed there from Zeni.
Zeni has some crazy weaving skills.
I can't remember from your runs. Do you go for that weave, Bihi?
I don't know. I have done, but only very briefly. I just gave it up after a while. Also an interesting strat there. Zeni takes further damage for iframes to reduce more lag. Just after the blue suit, killing the hoppers.
Yeah, so really, really nice part of upper red Bryn here for Zeni.
Sub
Now
1850 elevator. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. I'll have to rely on you for some of these numbers. My numbers are going to look quite a bit different than yours. Oh, lovely, lovely room there from Zeni.
Yes, it's Ocean Fly. Setup looks good.
Yeah, the particles look just off screen. I can't quite tell. Okay, nice, good. Of course, that'll change based on your speed, your entry into the room, which is impacted by your jump from the previous room. So kind of hard to tell, really. I'm sure it moves around a little bit. And I guess we're looking at like a low 20 entry time here for Zeni, which is pretty good by my estimation.
Good, yeah. Looks like we might even have a sub 2020 Phantoon door. Good Ocean Fly from Zoast. (2018, 19). Everyone's favorite boss.
All right, let's see if we can get... I'm sure Zeni will be going for the one round here. Let's see what kind of pattern Phantoon gives.
Mid.
Oh.
Hopefully we can get a 2-rounder out of this.
Yeah, looked a little short. Maybe 4 or 5. I couldn't quite tell.
It wasn't ideal even for 2-round standards.
Yeah, and unfortunately getting this slow here. Oh gosh, you know,
Yeah,
I swear these slow left and right patterns in that second round, when the flames are bad, they're so bad.
I often say it. The slow patterns are actually the hardest to deal with. Wow. Phantoon's given a rough time. I mean,
yeah.
There's some, nice patterns there. There's like mercy patterns.
Yeah, so the equivalent of a 4 round there for Zeni. Let's see what Zoast. He also gets a first round mid.
Going for a 1-rounder? Ooh.
Yeah, and a similar situation there, unfortunately. Yeah. Even fewer missiles, I think, for Zoast.
Quick air Doppler.
Yeah, and I think just bailing for the 3rd round immediately to not compound the issue, it looks like.
Yeah.
Does get the mid, though, at least.
Wow, that was a really good finish.
Wow.
I've never seen that before.
Holy smokes, Zoast.
I think Zoast was counting the missiles throughout.
Oh my goodness, that was excellent. Yeah, that is professional. I mean, I know you don't want a 3 round in any situation, especially when you're going for a 1 round, but what a way to clean it up. My goodness.
That's a good couple of seconds to save. That's a difficult boost, Zoast did too on the atomic. That's almost blind, that one.
Health pretty good for Zeni. Let's see. I imagine he'll go for the Kazan bounce here.
Didn't quite get through the door. Clean.
Oh, and the nice upwards K-go, more turnaround through the sparks there. Really, really nice. Using every last bit of health here to get to this energy tank.
Phew. Wipes the sweat from the brow.
Yeah, he was just a little close to the ceiling there. I'm always worried if I get too close that you're going to hit that ceiling and just bonk your way down to the bottom. And a 9 health, that's ripped to your reserves. So fortunately, he got across.
I'm just scared of 1 bomb. 1 bomb method scares me.
So you're maining the 2 bomb now, is that correct? Or
Yeah, I
at least
actually
for races, or okay.
always have, yeah, pretty much. I mean, I can do one bomb, and I have done it a few times in runs, but yeah, the one time that it sends me in the drink, then I'm just like, nope. Zoast doing the same. Very nice.
Pretty good super count from both runners. Ideally, you have 14 here if you get a full refill from Phantoon. Both runners, I'm pretty sure, leaving Phantoon one short of full.
Beautiful attic so far. And speed keep.
Woof! And getting an extra super out of that, so that actually catches
Wow.
Zeni up a little bit there. Nicely done. Ooh, okay. Oh, God.
Oh, no.
Oh,
That
gosh.
spark. I've never seen it do that. Well, maybe I have, but that seems rare. There was like a little falling spark just appeared and it threw everything off.
Yeah, I thought Zeni was in the clear. The first robot almost bounced him. He almost got bounced back through. And I thought that he'd avoided issues in that room. Unfortunately, had a rough time with the second one. I don't know what's best at that point. I think waiting like Zeni did for the robot to start moving forward is correct, as opposed to just missling into the...
Yeah. Part of me thinks maybe you could like get on top of the robot and bomb it to the left.
Yes,
if you can tuck yourself in to the right and bomb it left, but
yeah, that's what I tend to go for if I get messed up on the second robot. Sometimes the robot's a little far forward. It just depends.
Zoast did an interesting strat in the attic, going to the right. He did a bunch of damage boosts and actually farmed and grabbed more health. Interesting. Let's see, this robot flusher seems good.
Yeah, we are on Zeni's audio right now. We did hear the bonk of the beam on both, and based on, as Behe pointed out, based on the positioning of that setup, those bonks are likely associated with the correct outcome that you want there, which is a pretty nice time save. Or I guess avoiding a time loss if you're a glass half empty or half full person.
Yeah.
Let's say for Zoast here.
Shot positions look good for Zoast.
Yeah, if I was a little bit more on it in the comms booth here, I would have switched audio to Zoast really quickly so we could have heard that, but too little too late. We'll just have to hold our breaths. Little bit lower health, usually somewhere around 300 here feels pretty comfy, but 274 is perfectly workable here.
Yeah. If he's got enough reserve, like way up near 100, that should be fine to do every spark he needs to do from the bottom.
And how do you feel about this this gravity time? I think anything in the 26s is pretty dang good, but what's your sense for grab times here?
It's a good gravity time. Yeah, anything under 27 is like happy days. For the most part, yeah.
Oh, that's unfortunate there.
Yeah. So I feel like the difference between them as of right now must be 35 seconds, something like that.
I think that's correct. I think it mostly comes down at this point. I mean, obviously there's a lot of differences so far in strats and execution, but
yeah,
it's that fourth round of the Phantoon fight that Zeni had with the the 3 rounds and the 1 off screen. Zoast consolidating on a much faster 3 round, and I think that probably puts Zoast somewhere in the neighborhood of like a mid pattern ahead.
Yeah, I think Zoast has a slight lead. Zoast actually made the same mistake Zeni did trying to get in the speedball with the little touchdown on the hump there.
Okay, Zeni should be plenty fine here. I think he at least has 60 in reserve, I would think, based on my counts. So there should be plenty to get to 225 here. Yeah, 83. So he actually must have gotten an insane bug farm then.
Yeah. 235. Let's see if he gets the second spark left in the gauntlet. Never in any doubt.
So it's getting held up a little bit there on the way out of Criteria Power Bombs, having a couple hiccups there.
All right, Zeni gets down, taking out both sides of the crumble blocks. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Holy smokes, okay.
Wow, that jump.
Yeah, and a little head shake there and sort of a reset from Zeni we can see on his cam here, just making sure that he doesn't repeat the nightmare of the previous matchup with Zoast. Just incredible stuff from both of these runners. Zeni with that really, really tight speedball coming out onto the elevator going down to Greenbryn. Zoast at the back of Gauntlet Spark.
Did Zoast get the backup Gauntlet Spark?
Sorry, back
of
Gauntlet, not the backup.
Back of, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I misspoke as well, to be honest.
Because there's also the backup, right? There's the pretty tight frame
yeah.
window on the backup there, which is if you missed the power bomb originally.
An extremely hard backup, yeah.
Yeah, just a handful of frames as far as I know.
1 or 2, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right, and then this will sort of be the state of things for a while, folks. We're going to have this Greenbryn cleanup. We're making our way into Meridia after this, and it'll be throughout the rest of this cleanup in Meridia that you'll see Zoast ostensibly, but not really, trailing Zeni here by 30 to 40 seconds, depending on how things turn out, and until Zeni is forced to go back in and collect that missile pack from the warehouse, and then we'll see convergence going into LN. Nice sound cue clear there from Zeni. Performed optimally, at least by my tests in that room. You don't always actually need the power bomb for the sound cue clear, but depending on exactly how those wall jumps go and where those Edakuns are in their cry cycle, you can actually lose quite a bit of time on the sound cue exiting that room. So nice job from the power bomb there to lay the power bomb and clear that cue.
Yeah, I've never actually figured out like the power bomb time save on that Etakun's room. I'm always worried about using too many power bombs because sometimes you can like get to LN and you come up short with power bombs in Wasteland.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had some dicey situations, right, where you're going into Wasteland and you're counting. Wait a minute, hold on. Do I have? Okay, right. Power bomb's a shame. At least you have that.
Yeah.
But it can get a little dicey sometimes. I've definitely done that room where you can get a 42 door, which would be a perfect door without any power bomb lay. But there's other situations where if you're not quite on the rhythm of your wall jumps, or if you mess something up and you're a little bit slow, the wall jumps and the cries that those Edakuns make can actually cost you quite a handful of frames, double-digit frames for sure in the sound queue.
Good Mission Impossible for Zoast. Interesting. Zeni goes for a little boost there on the bug. Few issues there, Zoast, with the hopper room. That's a hard boost to leave the room with. Frequently catches me out.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's see. Resources just about even here. Zeni using a couple extra supers, being a few rooms ahead to open some of these red doors. Zoast going to be using the same supers here on this green door, and then one more. So I think they're about even on supers. This is pretty reasonable. It's not the best super count you could have, but I think it's decent.
It's, I would say, higher than average. It's, they're both looking really good on the super count. In fact, their stats are almost identical.
Oh man, that is
Toad's
unfortunate
super.
there. Yeah, it's a tough. I've never actually tasked it out myself, or used frame advance on the practice hack, but I do know it's only a handful of frames
It really is, yeah.
that you have to hit that snipe. It's a nice strat, but it's a little spooky for me when we're trying to save supers and how
It's one of those
valuable each one is
ones-
for Ridley.
It's one of those ones where it's not difficult, and then all of a sudden you start missing it, and then you wonder why you ever started doing it.
I love that. I love that. That is like really a beautiful summary of so many strats in this game.
Right.
Right? It feels so good. You hit it the first couple times, and then all of a sudden it goes down the toilet, and you're wondering, why did I ever start doing this?
Like, I need to stop doing this now.
Do you actually go for that one? I can't remember.
I used to a couple of years ago, yeah, in the previous grinds. Zeni does a really YOLO spark there. Just kind of runs along the ground and sparks in the right spot.
Yeah, and at the same time, beautiful blockbuster there from Zoast. I mean, these runners, with the exception of, maybe both of them being pretty frustrated with their Phantoon and a couple small hiccups here and there, it's been really, really clean so far, as evidenced by, the really excellent times.
Yeah, I didn't see Zeni's entry time to Red Tower, but I think it was like very low 34, maybe. Very good for a race.
Yeah, and Zo's always going for this slightly more conservative. I'm not sure if that's something that he's maining now or if that's just a race safety, but just going for that spin jump there to line Samus up with the edge of that platform, just really guaranteeing that you won't have a bonk. Beautiful fish tank from Zeni. Lovely stuff there. And both runners executing sort of this very subtle but new small frame saver. Oh, Zoast. Okay, is he going to get it? I think he's on. I think he's on.
Away. Yeah. This is
oh, it's so close.
Wow.
Okay. Ooh.
Oh, missed the shot, but I'm glad. I'm glad. He got on the podium there.
Yeah, actually, I think it was not the current world record, but the one before that, when you and Zeni were trading. He actually fell off that platform in one of these previous world records, and he used it as the thumbnail. The moment that Samus was falling, he used as the thumbnail for the YouTube video, which I thought was really great.
You got to use a catastrophe for a thumbnail.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just like the tendency of speedrunners to be negative, but I also tend to put like a big mistake from my run as the thumbnail on my YouTube videos for my PBs.
Zeni tearing up this Meridia.
I think we have a really close race here, Behe. This looks really, really close right now. And both runners playing so well. It's
got to be in the 40 to 50 second range. I haven't really been keeping track, watching timers and doing the math, but I think it's less than a minute.
Yeah, it's definitely less than a minute. Little high five here coming through. Gosh, one of these, I've such a frustrating room in almost every category. For those folks who've been playing up the arcade hype recently, SM Arcade, just a terrible room. There's nothing good about that room, honestly. I think there's challenging mock balls in both directions. There's just a lot of potential to lose time there.
Early Meridia is arguably like one of the hardest parts of the run, I think. There's so many blind jumps and just really tight stuff.
Was that an extra super used there? I couldn't quite tell.
Don't think so.
Okay. Nice weave moonfall from Zoast. Holy smokes. Just incredible stuff from both of these runners right now.
That's always strange when I see that full halfie. It always looks like Samus bonks the head first and then kind of teleports up into the right position. Maybe it's just my eyes playing tricks on me with that. It just sometimes happens that way.
Yeah, I know that I go for sort of like lining Samus up with that sort of little corner, that corner tile that sticks out of the ceiling. And it does sort of look funny sometimes when you, I don't know if Samus is actually sliding off it vertically or not.
Yeah. Zoast gets a full half heat.
Yeah, I think the only difference here is Zoast going for 4 jumps. Zeni has always been a tried and true person to stick with 5 on those wall jumps coming up. And now we'll see this lower lag rain dance here. Looks like a pretty good setup.
Yeah. Slow pattern, but dispatched accordingly. And the spike suit. Yeah, there's not a lot in this. This is like in the 40-second range, I think.
Yeah, let's check the touch time here on Space Jump.
44.
44, yep.
Yep.
We'll see how Zoast's fight goes. Zoast burning his missiles now for that GT attack manip. And we'll see, does Zoast go for his double X Factor here, or is it just still the single one? I can't remember.
I think so, the double? Oh, wow, that looks so scary, that setup. Okay. Both getting slow pattern.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Zoast not getting the blue suit coming out.
That's unfortunate. Okay, he does get it.
Yeah, backs it up pretty much without losing any time. Whoa, it's nice super drops there. A cluster all around. I think Zoast was maybe about a second lost there on the extra time spent.
It's
I
like
think the drops had just spawned.
40, 28, 29 grab on the space jump. So, yeah, 45-ish seconds between.
Yeah, so I mean, this is just a handful of seconds between these runners right now.
Yeah, this is a close race.
Yeah, and honestly, just that bonk right there from Zeni, setting up this blue keep strat, like that might have pulled it even right away.
Yeah.
Because that's sort of, unfortunately, that mistake compounds, right? You lose your momentum, and then you don't get the second save of going through the speed blocks. Not a good time to calculate if folks are trying to keep track in chat, because Zeni does pick up the Phantoon E-Tank on the first cycle through, and Zoast saves it for the second, so there's sort of a 7-second offset. If folks are trying to keep track, you're going to want to wait until after the second cycle here. Nice moonfall from Zoast. Wiggle through the sand.
Now let's see the ice clip.
Wow, not even waiting. That's incredible.
Oh yeah. No doubt at all.
Bihi, did you see that perfectly executed Puyo ice clip?
Yeah.
I did.
It was good. It was beautiful. Is any wasting the missiles? That is to prepare for a strat for GT. In case anyone's wondering. You can make GT fire nothing but those orbs, which will give you a whole bunch of supers. It's just a strange mechanic they put in the game.
Nicely executed ice clip. So we love to see this, folks, right? This is really good for both runners. No 10-second time loss from resetting the room. And it looks like both of these runners are going to be going for this lag reduction. So Zeni, you see killing Shack Tool to reduce sort of lag leaving the room here. Zoast also dumping a couple missiles into Shack Tool. That is usually an indication that the runner will be setting up for the same thing.
As far as I know, it's quite a minimal save, but I should probably look into it again. Let's see if Zoast attempts it here.
No, maybe not. Okay. Yeah, he did start with a couple missiles into Shack Tool. I don't know if that was just for fun or if it was part of...
yeah, probably for fun.
Yeah. Oh gosh, it's like almost exactly 40 seconds here, but I'm reminding myself that the same notion that I just gave to chat, that Zoast is actually still a fanfare ahead here, having skipped the Phantoon E-Tank for the second trip around. I love that farm and Cassius room from Zeni with that missile going up. Often can get a super out of that. Just so much attention paid to super management here going into LN for Ridley.
Looks like a good plasma room from Zeni.
That's another room that's undergone pretty massive makeover in the last several years. I think now dating back to the previous 100% tournament when those changes were really made by a number of runners working together.
Yeah, I remember.
See Scotty W. I think Zeni was doing some stuff. You were working on that. I think some of the initial ideas may have come from Hodarubi, actually, when he did a very deep dive for that tournament coming back. Oh, did Zeni bonk there? Or is that intentional? I'm not sure.
Oh, wow. Zeni just co-jacked a whole bunch of supers by the sounds of it there. Wow. Oh, what's
yeah.
happening?
Well, it looks like he co-jacked the supers, and I think the setup that he uses there, you have to not be holding dash. As far as I understand that setup, it's the one I use. You have to not be holding dash going into that door, and I wonder if something with the co-jacks changed his positioning relative to the door, and he ended up not getting the run speed he needed before he hit the sand with the Zoa farm there.
Yeah, that seemed quite costly. Interesting, Zoast gets the energy tank on the second trip through Meridia here.
I've actually considered switching to the second because, I think it gives you a slightly easier setup for the turnaround into the sand in order to set up sort of the second D-boost and then this spring ball strat. I think that might just be a runner preference thing. Certainly time-wise, it doesn't make much of a difference.
I'd be worried about forgetting the energy tank
Yeah.
after having gotten it on the first trip so many times.
Yep. As far as I know, Zoast has been doing it second for quite a while.
Yeah.
Nice double D-boost there from Zeni.
Okay, we're soon to see the route convergence.
I think with that rather unfortunate and costly time loss from Zeni coming out of the Cack Alley, I believe that Zoast has probably taken the lead at this point, but it's pretty minimal. It was a pretty big swing, but I think it probably pushed it from 3 to 4 seconds in Zeni's favor to maybe about that same margin in Zoast's. We'll find out very, very soon, but this is going to be very close going into LN. We've got a race on our hands, folks. Holy smokes.
I think since that mistake, Zeni's played a little bit smoother than Zoast, but I'd have to watch it back to know for sure.
Yeah, unfortunately, not getting
There we go. And
not getting that
Zoast is
blue
in the lead.
entry. Yeah, maybe
Wow.
7-8 seconds, something like
Yeah,
that.
that's
A little bit
super
less than an
close.
elevator ride.
What an incredible race.
Resources almost identical. Oh God, Zoast!
Wowee.
Oh boy.
That's a run killer, that is. I'll tell
Oh
you.
my goodness.
Wow.
Oh, he's had some close calls today, hasn't he, BD?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right, folks, we can all wipe our brow. I wonder if those missiles into the wall was Zoast blowing off some steam there,
Yeah, I
because
think so.
that was so sketch. Oh, no, is Zeni doing the same? What was this all about? Is this a new thing that I'm unaware of?
I think they might be concerned that they've got too many missiles for the GT minute.
Oh, yeah.
Firing off
Okay.
a bunch more. It's
Okay.
possible.
Yeah, no, that makes much more sense.
I like the idea that Zoast was blowing off some steam.
Yeah, and Zeni's watching the restream and was doing the same in for Zoast.
Yeah, that works for me.
this should work. Sometimes this chronic boost gets a little funny. You can get caught up on the platform. Really nice from Zoast. Yeah, and Zeni right behind. Well, folks, we were sort of unfortunately robbed of the tension really in the previous race for most of it, with Zeni having that gauntlet issue. No such issue today. These two runners are within an elevator ride of each other entering Lower Norfair. They're both on 23 supers. This is incredible. This is really, really incredible. We've got a race on our hands here.
Zoast having some trouble going left. He wanted to boost off of one of those like plumes of fire thing, and it didn't quite work out. So it's, the gap has shrunk even more.
The gap has narrowed. We're some 3.5, 4 seconds apart. Oh my goodness. You couldn't ask for anything more in a race of these stakes, and it's not like they're racing poorly either. I mean, these are with some minor exceptions. These are very good performances for both runners, hitting so many strats.
Absolutely.
Yeah, within a fanfare. Unbelievable. Let's see what these super drops yield. It's going to be a little bit of RNG here. The runners will be giving up, as Bihi alluded to before, a few seconds of lag in order to generate some of these drops from these orbs. All right, at least one.
Entered with 23, so they've got a good amount, even heading in. Zeni doing...
Oh my.
Yeah, he's getting a lot.
Wow.
Fanfare apart now. It's about 7 seconds apart.
Goodness, depending on Metal Pirates, Zeni could be coming in with like 40 supers to,
for sure,
to Ridley. This is insane.
With plenty left over for Torian. Zoast in a good position with his supers too.
Yeah, so I'm curious, Bihi, what's your strategy here? Obviously, like, doing the 27-2 fight, if you can get that sub-30 time, anything in the 2x range is really excellent, but you have to pay, I guess, at least some attention to that super count, both to not go too slow through the croc section, but also to make sure that you have, some reasonable amount going into Turian. What's sort of your strategy there? I mean, I think Zeni tends to be a little bit more aggressive, even with a lower count. How do you view this fight and this... super conservation?
If I have 27, I'm using them all on Ridley.
Okay.
But if I have less than 27, I'll go for like a 21-6 fight. I like to, rather than do something like 24-4. Yeah, I just like having that little extra. Let's say I have 26, then I'll have 5 left over after 21-6. Just gives me that little buffer room for Torian.
Yep. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Both runners going for that sound cue clear, which actually can save a good handful of frames here, leaving Amphitheater, due to that rumbling that you hear in the background.
It's amazing how close this race is. It's so good. I
know, I'm so excited right now. This is hype.
It's sort of like comes down to bosses in a way. I mean, there's so much left of the run. There's so much technical strats to see the runners go through, but it's going to be really interesting to see what this Ridley is going to be like.
Yeah, let's see what the drops are here from Zoast for these Metal Pirates.
Wow, Zoast has an interesting Metal Pirate room there.
Yeah, there's 40. It'll be 40 supers entering Ridley.
I think that ties Zeni's record for the most amount of supers. Oh, just falling down there at the end.
Yeah. All right, let's see. And man, Zoast has that interesting spring ball setup here. Oh, the first super Kojak.
I've got to follow both Ridleys now.
Oh, this looks really, really good setup. The script's going very well for Zeni on the left. And really nice for Zoast as well. Oh wow. My goodness. Zeni executing a little bit more cleanly. I think Zoast at least 1 Kojak at the start, maybe 2. I couldn't quite tell on that first bevy of missiles. But, I mean, holy smokes. It's dead even.
It's dead even.
It's dead even.
I think Zoast got a little bit unlucky with the grab. He tried to go for a last-ditch grab, and Ridley flew off to the right. But,
yeah.
Finished him off in good time still.
I mean, yeah, it's the same door transition now, Behe. This is just absolutely unreal.
Can't contain the excitement right now.
All right, let's see. I'm assuming both of these runners are going for the new strat here through these Kazans. They are. This is a scary one.
Scary. Oh, Zoast. It looked like Zoast bailed on it actually.
Yeah, he had issues with that in his last race against you. I don't know if that was part of the decision there. Maybe feeling a little bit unsure about that setup.
Nice springboard at the end.
Oh yeah, and chat pointing out 13 supers for Zeni. Yeah. It's unbelievable doing a 27-2 fight and leaving with 13 supers. That is just unreal. That's like God drops throughout that whole section. I mean, credit to Zeni for managing things so well and going for all the strats that allow that, but you need a little bit of help from RNG to get that to happen as well.
For sure.
Unbelievable. Well, B, if this is any indication whatsoever of what this 3-game set is going to look like, then buckle your seatbelts, folks, because holy smokes. Yeah, I mean, it's ledge grabs at this point are making the difference, right? That's how close we are.
Yeah. Zoast's segment since Ridley has been a little bit more bumpy compared to Zeni's. Zeni's slightly pulling ahead here.
Yeah, and a little bump there entering this power bomb room. Still within a fanfare, though. You'd definitely rather have Zeni's resources here, of course, than Zoast, but he should be fine. Things can get a little dicey. I think it was actually in one of your races against Zoast. You had to do some pretty serious super conservation in that front door finals through the croc section, which is never fun.
I'm definitely no stranger to having like 1 super or 0 around this area. I've gotten a bit too used to it. I'm a big advocate for very low super counts, leaving LN. Great Bold Mountains from both.
Oh, Zoast going for the faster strat here. This is a dangerous and hard strat to set up, but beautifully executed. Zoast, you see, entering that spring ball.
Very nice.
Do you know that the frame save there, Behe? Is it like it's like 10, 12 frames or something?
I would say that's pretty accurate. Yeah, I think it's in that kind of range.
Yeah, that was he pulled that off at GDQ in their co-op run, and really fun stuff there. It's a strat that's been known for a while, but it's not often gone for because it's just so tight.
It is, yeah.
Zeni not getting that door open, unfortunately. Oh, and having a little issue getting hung up on the ledge there, and just like that. I mean,
perfectly synced.
It's 2 prize fighters trading blows here, you know, and each one just trying to put the other one on the ropes, and then the other one is able to answer back.
Zoast was able to get the waiver boosts while Zeni wasn't. So it's even closer.
Oh my goodness. And that, just like that, Zoast retakes the lead.
Yeah.
Both going for this super shot to unlatch this enemy, both getting the D boost. All right, pretty critical part of this run coming up here. We've got some 6 to 10 seconds on the line coming up, which is pretty huge. Zoast always doing that little flare of sending that missile into the E-tank. All right, folks, hold on to your butts. Ooh, bad frame for Zoast.
Bad frame again.
Again! Oh
Both
my
of them
goodness!
Getting bad frame.
Holy smokes, 3 bad frames.
No.
4!
Zenny gets it.
Oh, Zoast, come on, bud.
Zoast. Yes. Well done, guys.
Well done indeed. They had us on the edge of our seats, Behe. 4
Brilliant
bad
stuff.
frames?
Yeah. Like a total of about 5 bad frames, maybe.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it and look at this. I mean, it couldn't be any closer.
It couldn't.
Oh my goodness.
An hour into the speedrun.
Yeah, Behe said it best. 1 hour in to this first game of this best of 3 series, where the loser goes home and takes 3rd place, and the winner moves on to the grand finals of this SGLIVE 2023 100% tournament, and it could not be any closer. Both runners now holding on to that spike suit. Both runners getting the beautiful mock ball entry and touching down for the grapple. This is it, Behe. This is the last part of this run.
Both of these guys don't want to be pressing up during a jump. It's a critical segment. Yeah.
Pretty much anything that would use a spark would blow your spike suit here, and depending on how that works out, I think it saves about 5.5 seconds in the X-ray hall, which is where we're taking it to. But obviously, depending on the way that you might potentially use that up, the crash animation and all the rest, it could be even more costly than that. So hoping that both of our runners hold on to that. Zeni getting hung up just a little bit there, but I mean, we're calling attention to it because like the margin is so thin right now.
Both doing a good job so far.
Yeah, this is, I don't know, you have a lot more experience than I do here, but this is such a nerve-wracking segment when I'm running. I run like Croc as well, and I'm just always just a little bit uncomfortable in this segment.
Oh yeah, it's pretty terrifying.
Both runners executing that very challenging and fast Croc escape. Not using the spring ball, but that sort of turnaround through the left side of the door, keeping that door transition nice and slow. So he's getting the beautiful spring ball exit there.
Very interesting, he freezes. Oh, no, Zoast! Oh, no. Damn. That's
oh, dear. Fortunately, there are more costly ways to blow that. I've personally actually gone the full. I think you may have done this at some point in a world record, maybe going the full way across Croc's room on their way out.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
Definitely worse ways to do it, but that's probably 6 to 7 seconds in Zeni's favor. So probably would be moving to a double-digit second lead here.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, nice to hold on to it there. Zeni getting through that last room. Yeah, but I mean, still a very close race. I mean, this isn't even a baby skip at this point, right? I mean, this is you know,
it's
this is a Zeb skip. This is a handful of Metroid rooms. This is a very difficult blue brain cleanup, which you can get hung up on very easily.
Yeah, I think a baby skip, fail would be like 35 seconds, 40 seconds maybe. So this is significantly less than that. So I was going for the extremely difficult speed keep.
All right, Zeni setting up for the reverse slinky here, or was he bailing on it there? I'm not sure. Maybe the entry wasn't quite good.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was just wasn't able to morph or something.
Oh, that was really weird. What just happened there?
Fell through New Bridge?
Yeah, he took like damage off. Did he accidentally hit jump and take damage off the spikes? Because he took damage there, right? Or was that? Gosh, I don't know.
I didn't really see. I looked and then I saw that it was shooting the cack attacks.
Yeah, I think he jumped early and hit the spikes. Yeah, chat saying the same thing. So maybe that's what it was there. Huh. Okay, so Zeni opening up a little bit of a lead here for just the first time in a while. A little unfortunate bonk there. It's a little tight getting that fast bounce ball entry into the Spilly Maze room.
I feel like it's heading towards Baby Skip being the deciding factor at this point.
This is interesting, Behe. So some people in chat pointing out that maybe Zoast was going for a super drop there off the CAC because he was only at 1.
Interesting, yeah. Could be.
It's definitely a little bit of a factor here, having 5 more supers in Zeni's case.
Zeni unfortunately hitting the door there to construction.
All right, let's get a sense of where we're at. Zeni at 5-0 even, touching down on that elevator.
Pretty good. 104. Anything sub 105 on the elevator is pretty damn good.
Looks like we're probably about 20 seconds right now. Maybe just over 20 seconds. Yeah, just about 20.
This late game cleanup, though, is just so incredibly difficult to maintain composure, whether you're on a good pace or a race.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know your opinion, but I actually find the Blue Brain cleanup to be one of the more challenging sections of the entire speedrun.
For sure, yeah. Especially with some of the more YOLO strats you can do there.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many tight jumps through the doors.
All right, let's see. Is Zeni going to be looking for sort of a purple-colored sprite going through this door? You actually see the screw there. Is this going to work? Oh, he got it to work. Okay.
Wow, nice. Yeah, there's like 2 frames that can work, but you definitely want that purple one.
Nice, and let's see. He's going to be going for this tight little ball, speed ball here. Nicely executed.
Nice.
All right, so
mock ball for Zoast too.
Oh, and an extra super for Zeni. That always helps.
Yeah, Zeni can afford to go wild in Turian with this super count.
Yeah, anytime you're in double digits heading into Turian, it just feels so good. Zoast has gotten some decent drops along the way. I think he was 7 or 8 supers behind. He's a little closer now.
Yeah, this is absolutely fine super count for Zoast. He may wish to group room 1, but after that, he should be okay.
Yeah, and both runners still on 113 pace, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's all on the line here, Behe. We have to see. I'm assuming Zeni's sticking with the spring ball baby skip. I suspect Zoast will stick with the Stashio skip, maybe 4 for race safety. What's your feeling on that? I know for a long time you were doing the spring ball skip, but you were doing it with that power bomb lag to make it a little bit more lenient.
Yeah.
Have you done this now, Stashio skip switching just for race safety, or is that your main in Hundo now?
I don't know really. I mean, it's definitely a safety to do Stashio skip. I will probably start doing spring ball skips again once the tournament is over. It's only having a little trouble in room 1 there. Got held up on a frozen Metroid. Oh, room 3. Oh, it's annoying when room 3 goes like that.
Yeah, getting good super drops, and as you correctly pointed out, Zoast using just the one super, grouping those Metroids there very, very nicely. Oh, and getting good super drops off the grapple farm there at the end of M2. Really nice. saving another super with the missiles. Oh, man.
Wow.
Okay.
That's Kojak super there on the blinking door for Zoast. All right, baby skip for Zeni.
I think Zoast did make up a little bit of time there.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, and Zeni going for Stachio skip here, so a little bit of a race safety here, I suspect. 3 jumps or 4? Ooh.
4.
Okay, I wasn't sure if he was going for 3 and bailed at the last minute. That looked a little dicey to my eyes.
Yeah, the lag is really hard to deal with for a 4 jump.
Zoast having slightly different setup, getting the missile to take out that. Okay, really nice. That should be fine.
Both successful with 4 jump.
And Zeb skip sometimes the great equalizer, but Zeni getting through very nicely. And with the extra supers, we'll save just a little bit of extra time here on M1. Oh, that's really unfortunate there.
Yeah, the Zeb type strikes again.
Yeah, and Zoast opting for missiles and then to go through on the second Zeb. Something that you and I talked about in your chat a while ago was a backup that I use where I actually take damage from a spin jump off the frozen Rinka if you get it frozen, and you can actually just lose a very, very small amount of time. I think it's the fastest backup, but it's really tight doing the down back off of the mid-air morph.
It's really handy, yeah. Zeni's got an interesting MB2 fight. Sticking close and jumping to prevent grenades, which would otherwise delay the catch-up. Unfortunately, MB has ended up in a position where Zeni will not be able to attempt the 2-cry manip, which is like the sit-down animation manipulation, which saves a whole bunch of seconds.
Yeah, Zeni getting good bad cutscene.
That's right, yeah. The good, now bad cutscene.
Yeah, so folks, if you take a look at Zeni's screen versus Zoast's, Mother Brain's toe, her back toenail is not overlapping with that back wall, but on Zoast's screen it is. So you'll see Zeni is just going to sit here and wait for about 4 seconds for Mother Brain to sit down. Zoast is going to be going for a slightly different setup here. You see him crouching, and he's going to do a turnaround angle jump here at a precise time. About the time that Mother Brain's chin hits the pipe there. Does not quite get it. Goes for the backup. I think he may have been a little late on that backup. It's about a 2-second time loss compared to what Zeni had done with the good cutscene. And it's about a 4 to 5 seconds behind what you would get if you had gotten 2 cries. So a little unfortunate. We've seen it a couple times. It's a pretty large window compared to what it had been. It was 1 or 2 frames. It's now 5 or 6. But it's still not free, and I think it's still sort of in its infancy of being developed into the sort of the main part of runs here.
It's definitely a fairly big time saver for such a late stage in this game's like speedrunning development, you know.
Yeah, about two and a half seconds or so.
Yeah, I think even somewhere upwards of 3 seconds as well.
Yep. Yeah, depending on how optimal your stand-up is. So I think 3 seconds is probably pretty accurate.
Both good stand-ups for them both. And onwards to the escape. It's only on a very comfortable 1:13 pace.
Nice blue bomber from Zoast. Zeni just 2 rooms away from securing victory number 1 in this best of 3 set. Yeah, and there it is. Get your GGs in chat, folks. Finishing in first place. with an official race time of 1:13:32.
Very nice.
GG's, Zeni. Zoast not far behind.
So we can just get this. I really want Zoast to get this 113. Come on. Yeah, let's go. That was 113 in my eyes.
Yeah, I think that was a 1:13:59 on the ship, but according to the official race time and when he actually got done, it is of 1:14 flat. But that was 1:13:59 on ship. 1:14.
113 in our hearts. That one.
Yeah. Wow, that was a heck of a race, Behe. Holy smokes.
That was fantastic.
It came undone just a little bit for Zoast in that, pretty much just in that LN exit, really, was where the gap was separated, and then leading in obviously through the mist, the blown spike suit. But everything else was just, it was neck and neck throughout that whole area. My goodness.
It really was, yeah. You can't ask for much more an hour into a run to be that close.
All right, just checking in with the runners. They're going to take a couple minute break here. We're not going to do any interviews now. So we're going to take a minute here. Maybe Behe and I can just do a little post-mortem on this race, since we are since we're not going to have any interviews, and then we'll get the next race set up. We're going to stay right with you here live on Speedgaming as the runners set up the next race room, and take a few minutes just to stand up and stretch and move on. But Behe, so what do you think? We don't have these runners in here, so we won't be able to get their perspective quite yet. But it was one heck of a race. I'd be really curious to hear your perspective.
I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed doing comms with you and watching this fantastic race. Amazing. It's like, some real time losses in wreck ship, and both kind of emulating each other's mistakes, and coming away with a victory for Zeni. I think that's the result he wanted. But still potentially 2 races to go. So I'm going to be sticking around to watch that. Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much for being in the booth with me, Behemoth. It's a lot of fun to have someone in here who's got such great game knowledge, and we can sort of bounce off each other and go back and forth with a pretty granular discussion about the actual the things that these runners are doing, and try to guide people through some pretty high level speed running. I mean, at the end of the day, this was an excellent performance from both runners. I mean, as you said, the race time reflects 1:14 flat for Zoast, but both runners effectively 1:13ing here. I think losing doesn't feel good, but I think Zoast has to be encouraged by that performance, because he was in that race until absolutely the last moment, and I have no doubt whatsoever that he could pull out 2 more 1:13s and come back and win this. It's really anybody's game still.
And traditionally, Zoast gets better as the stream goes on, so that's a good chance for a better time, even for Zoast, heading forward into this race, this 3-way.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, folks, it's been an absolute pleasure. Behemoth, if you don't have anything else that you wanted to offer as far as sort of a breakdown of that race, I might send us off to the next race team, and thank you for joining me. It's been a lot of fun.
A lot of fun too. Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. Hope you will have a good race viewing, everybody.
All right, folks, you stay tuned. Coming up in just a handful of minutes, we have round 2 of this best of 3 series, Zeni versus Zoast, 2 of the top 3 seeds in this tournament. You'll be joined live in just a moment by Just Defend, legendary speedrunner in his own right, and the one, the only, the Hockey Towner. Folks, you are in for a real treat coming in for game 2, so grab your popcorn, grab a drink, and stay tuned. We will see you just on the other side.